This video covers customizing and exporting the results grid that you see at the top of the screen in both Sefaira Architecture and Sefaira Systems. In other videos, I've discussed how to create clones, such as the options that you see here, and use them to compare different design options, HVAC systems, or energy conservation measures. In this video, we'll cover a bit of other functionality about customizing and exporting the result grid. For example, you can change any of the outputs in the 4 columns that you see here. So right now we're looking at EUI, cooling equipment and heating equipment capacity, and the design airflow for the air handling unit. And simply by clicking the header of any of these columns, we can change the output that's visible. So let's say I'm interested in looking at the energy cost. I can scroll down to energy cost and let's select annual energy cost. So now that's the factor that we're looking at instead of the airflow for the first column. The utility costs, by the way, are set in the energy breakdown tab under energy and CO2 tariffs. And the defaults here are customized based upon the location of the project. When you change the active option, that does a couple things. First, those are the inputs and outputs that you are now viewing and editing in the panel below. So if I wanted to change the settings for the second option with the fan coil unit and central plant, now I'm editing that option and I can view the results for that option. You can see in the comparison grid, it also changes the point of comparison. So these percentage differences, or the deltas, are now referencing this as the base case. You can also reorder options by dragging and dropping. And this can become very helpful if you begin to stack up a lot of different options and you want to kind of prioritize some or highlight some as the new baseline. Now you might have noticed as I moved that option that as I hovered over some of the other options, there was the option to create a group. So if I do that, you can see now I have a group of 2 options. This is a feature with a very specific use case. Essentially, it's a way to simulate a building that has multiple different types of HVAC systems for different parts of the building. I'm not going to cover that feature in detail. You can find out more about it by following the link on the tooltip. But just be aware of it, and you should understand that it's not the same as the comparison that we have before we combined these options. Now to uncombine, again, we can just drag and drop, and I can go ahead and move this and separate those options out again. Let me move this back down. Now let's say that we have our results grid and our set of options as we like. You can download the grid to Excel, and this will download a file that contains all of the possible outputs, not just the 4 that you've selected here. So you don't have to worry about customizing this column before you download to Excel. They will all be there. Let's go ahead and open this file up and take a quick look at it. So it has a bit of information about who downloaded it and when it was downloaded, what project, and then it has the different options that we were looking at, the name of the option, and then all of the outputs that are possible to see in the results grid. So that's how you can use the results grid to customize your comparisons and export the results.